Hello and welcome to Solve for the answer to my second chapter about the bear and the hunter and the bear problem. In my last problem I asked you if there were any other place on Earth where you could go south for 100 kilometers, west from another kilometers, and north for another kilometers, and then get back to your starting point. North Pole does it. And my question was if there were any other place. The answer is yes. There are other places. Let me introduce you to that line. This is called the equator. And the equator is about 40,000 kilometers long. The interesting thing on this is technically it's a circle. It's a circle, so the circumference of this circle is 40,000 kilometers. But as you can see, if I go further south, we can make other circles. A little bit like here, we can make other circles that are actually a smaller circumference, and all the way to the South Pole where the circumference is 0. So we got all the length we want from 40,000 kilometers to 0. Which means that somewhere here, well, maybe there actually, but somewhere here we can imagine there is a circle which circumference is exactly 100 kilometers. So now let's think about it. Let's see that for the sake of my demonstration, this line, I don't know if you can see it here, which is actually which parallel is it? 40 degrees parallel. Let's say this line is 100 kilometers long. You can see it, it's here. Of course it's not in the reality, but it doesn't matter actually. So let's say this line is the circle we're looking for. Now let's say that I start 100 kilometers above this line. Then I go 100 kilometers south. Then I turn 100 kilometers west, which makes that I make a full turn of that line. And I'm back to where I started on that line. And then I go back 100 kilometers north, which is my starting point. So actually there is not one place on Earth when I can do that, but all those places, the circle that is 100 kilometers above the 100 kilometer circle, all those places work actually. And if you think about it, you can even imagine that even instead of using a 100 kilometer circle, you can use a 50 kilometer circle, because in that case if I start 100 kilometers higher, I go down, and then I will turn west, and that's gonna make 2 turns. Then I go back up, exactly 2 turns. And actually any circle which circumference is 100 divided by an integer will work. Well, not the circle, 100 kilometers above it. So there is not one place that works. There's that circle, then this circle, and that circle, and this, and actually there's already, for one circle, there's an infinity of places. And there's technically an infinity of circles. Except that, of course, if you're in a circle that's very, very close to the South Pole, you might not want to turn 1,000 or 10,000 turns around, but still, technically, mathematically, that works. I hope you enjoyed that one, and see you next time for another problem. Maybe geometry. I don't know. I have to think about it. Bye. See you next time.